In this video, we are doing the 4.2 and 4.3 mixed review. So we will be having the elimination method and substitution method. So the content objective is that you'll be solving a system of equation based on elimination or substitution. But you will get one solution, no solution, or infinitely many solutions. So the two learning targets, I can solve a system of equations by the substitution method, and I can solve a system of equations by elimination method. So we attached this slide for you to remind you the steps for substitution. This one is given for one solution, but notice step 6, you can decide if it's one solution, no solution, or infinitely many. And you can decide if they are one solution, no solution, or infinitely many based on your outcome. So if you're left with x equals a number and y equals a number, then you have an ordered pair, which is one solution. If the x's and y's go away or wipe out or cancel, a true statement would signify that you have infinitely many solutions, and a false statement would be no solution. Now, it says solve using the substitution method. Notice we have equation number 1, which is in standard form, x's and y's, but equation 2 does not line up. It has an isolated variable. So if we put a box around the x, it equals 5y plus 18. So wherever we see an x, you're going to substitute that in. And make sure that you rewrite everything that you did not use. And also make sure that you read your own handwriting. So that's an actual 7 and not a 2. So 7 times 5 gets you 35y. 7 times 18 gets you 126 minus 5y equals negative 24. Now at this point, we're going to combine like terms. 35y take away 5y gets you 30y plus 126 equals negative 24. Now we have a two-step. So we're going to minus 126 on both sides. So make sure that you are putting into the calculator correctly. So that's going to get us negative 150 equals 30y. So we're going to divide by 30. So negative 150 divided by 30 is going to get us negative 5. So let's double check. All right, we know that we got our y correctly. So which equation looks better or easier to do? I'm going to choose the second equation because the x is already isolated. So all you need to do is plug in that negative 5 into the y value. And this is where you can just put it into the calculator. 5 times negative 5 plus 18 gets you y equals negative 7. Our x and y's remain, so we have negative 7 comma negative 5, which is an ordered pair, or another way of saying one solution. So let's confirm we got those right, and yes, it is one solution. If you chose to upload your work, please do it on slide 5. All right, the next one, it also is solved by substitution. You can know that by reading the directions, which reminds me, I will have to change. Give me 1 second, I'm going to pause it. All right, so then I actually changed the directions. It says by substitution. So notice that in equation 1, we have the y that's isolated. So then we can put it into our second equation. So now we're just going to have x's. Now, at this step, once you plug in the items or the terms, you should have all the same letters. In this case, we have negative 6x, and then we'll have a positive 6x. And then we'll have 12, and then we'll have 12. Notice when we combine like terms, they are complete opposites of each other. So then we are left with 12 equals 12. Since the x's go away, we will not have a value for x and y. It cannot be one solution. This is a true statement. So true statements lead us to infinitely many solutions. So let's just confirm. So we got that right. Now, if you got a false statement, then it would be a no solution. So true statement is infinitely many, false would be no. Now we come to the elimination. So we put this flow map here for you to reference in case you still need to know the steps. The first type of problem you'll see is a word problem. So we have a graduation party that's going on. So we have 5 small balloon bouquets that were being built, and then 6 large balloon bouquets, and they equal 183. So we can talk about the grad party. And notice that it says X is the number of small balloons and Y is the number large. So 5 is a small, 6 is for the large, and the total is 183. And now we're going to do the same thing for the birthday party. 5 small, 7 large, and even though that 206 was written first, that's the total. So it says use the guess method to find the equations and write your equations in standard form. So standard form is ax plus by. So the a would be 5 because that's next to our x. The 6 would be our b value since it's next to our y, equals 183. All right, we got this correct, so then we can do the birthday party one. Once again, the small is next to the x, 7 is next to the y, and then 206. So we got these two equations that are correct. And now we can use elimination because these are in standard form. The x's and y's are lined up, if you will. And we can move to the next slide to answer this question. All right, so our first equation is 5x plus 6y equals 183, and 5x plus 7y equals 206. Now remember, for elimination, you want to make one of them opposite. So I'm going to make one of the 5's negative 5, and I'm going to put the bottom one 5. And then you can just distribute. So negative 5 times 5x gets you negative 25x minus 30y. Now I'll definitely use a calculator for this one. Negative 5 times 183 gets you negative 915. Then we have 25x plus 35y. And then 5 times 206 gets you 1,030. So when you're dealing with these big numbers, make sure that you're writing them clearly and neatly, and you're not mistaken any of the digits. So when you add these together, the x's go away, and we're left with just 5y. And then negative 915 plus 1,030 gets you 115. So once you divide them, you're going to get y equals 23. Okay, we got this correct. And then plug it into the easier equation. In this case, they look very similar. So I'm just going to choose the first one. And I'm going to replace it with the y value. Make sure you write it correctly. So then we have 6 times 23, which is 138. Drop down the 5x, we did not use it. Drop down the 183, did not use it. So then 183 minus 138 gets you 45. So now we just have a one-step. 45 divided by 5 gets you 9. So the cost of the small balloon bouquet is 9. The cost of the 23, or the large balloon bouquet, is 23. And that is technically one solution. All right, for this equation, notice that it says elimination. And one way of telling is that they're both in standard form. So the x's and y's line up, and so do the constants. So if you needed to draw that wall to keep yourself organized. Now we can multiply by negative 3 and multiply the bottom by 3. So negative 3 times 3x gets you that negative 9x. Negative 3 times 2y gets you negative 6y. And then this gets you a positive 39. And now we're distributing the bottom. So now we're going to have a positive 9x plus 12y equals 3. Now the whole point of doing that, if you do it our flow map way, the x's cross out. So then we're left with 6y because you're adding the two together. And then 39 plus 3 will get you a 42. And then divide by 6. We're going to get y equals 7. Let's confirm. And then all you need to do is plug that back in. I'm going to choose the second equation this time. Does not matter. I just wanted to be a little different than usual. Now remember, 4 times 7 is going to be 28. So then you're going to minus 28 on both sides. You're going to get negative 27. And then we have one undue step, which is dividing by 3. So then we get x equals negative 9. Let's just confirm that. Now, since we have an x and a y, this will be a one solution, and you can write it as an ordered pair. Now, another elimination problem. If we have negative 4x plus 10y equals 6, and we have 2x minus 5y equals 3. Remember, make one of the numbers opposite. And I always look at the first coefficient. So we have 2, so I'm going to make this negative 2. And I'm going to keep the negative 4 how it is. And then I'm going to distribute. Be careful and mindful of negative and a negative is a positive. Negative and a positive is a negative 20y. And then equals negative 12. Negative 4 times 2x gets you negative 8x. Be careful here. Negative times a negative gets you a positive. And then a negative 4 times 3 gets you negative 12. Now this is where you want to be careful. You want to make sure that you're not on autopilot and that you're mindful of what you're doing. So yes, the x's are opposites. Yes, the y's are opposites. But some of you may rush and think that negative 12 and negative 12 are opposites. They're actually the same thing. So negative 12 plus negative 12 would actually get you negative 24. 0 can never equal negative 24. So this is a false statement. So this would be a no solution. Now the x's and y's we don't need because they wiped out. So we cannot have a no solution. I'm sorry, we cannot have a one solution because the x's and y's wipe out. The answer itself is no solution because it's a false statement. So when the x's and y's go away and we're left with a number that does not equal itself, we would get a no solution for an answer.